Hey everyone, welcome back to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith, and this is
Pet McDonald, and we're here to continuing our playthrough of The Gallerist, Solo Edition.
Gangster Edition.
Gangster.
Before we continue, though, I do want to mention a quick rules clarification. When we kick out Lacerda's pawn or any of his assistants, we normally take a ticket off of the stack that has the most. But it's important to remember to do that as a kicked out action. In other words, we should fully finish our action before we do that. Because our action might change the levels of the stacks, right?
Right, and it's important in the international market as well, because we might take the tile that he would take before he gets to place.
Right, so again, his actions happen as kicked out actions after you perform your own. Speaking of actions and things to perform, Paulo Renato got the most votes, and he limited himself to just 2 rounds of suggestions. Last time he gave us 5 rounds. He really didn't trust us. I don't blame him.
2's not too bad.
2's pretty good. Let's go to the table and see what he wants us to do. Well, Lacerda's at the international market. He's about to claim something. So we're going to muscle in, which seems to be our way, and jump ahead of him in the line to play something first.
Paulo would like us to claim this token here, and I think it's a fantastic one.
Right, because this will give us 1 money at the end of the game for each visitor in our gallery. And if there's one thing we're doing well, is it's loading up our gallery with visitors. By placing in this column, we also gain the 3 influence here, so I'll collect that. The reputation token that we're gaining is going to be placed on this space here, which will give us some additional influence. 2 for each VIP and 1 for each collector in our gallery. We have 1 of each, for a total gain of 3 influence. Before we do that though, we're also going to have to remove a visitor from our lobby to the plaza, so I'll just do that now. A VIP is leaving. This will put us above another one of these stars on the influence track, which will be useful later if we want to use a location action when we get kicked out. Paulo wants us to use an executive action now and spend some tickets. He's recommending we spend 2 pink tickets and 1 white one, but we're having a little internal argument here with our consultant Paulo because we have an extra pink ticket, and both Pep and I want to spend it.
Yeah, we do.
So I guess this is a little mini coup against Paulo here. We're going to use 2 of the tickets to drag one of the VIPs who tried to leave our gallery back in, and try as they might to stay away, a white and a pink visitor are also coming back to our lobby.
It's hard to resist such fantastic art.
The Paprod Gallery is a hotspot. That ends all of our actions, so now we'll resolve this kicked out assistant, who is going to leave the space and go into the international market following Lacerda's placement rules by going here. We still also remove a ticket from the stacks as well, and although you can't see it, the stack with the most is the white ones, so this will be discarded.
And now it's Lacerda's turn to move, kicking out one of our assistants and giving us a kicked out action.
Which Paulo definitely wants us to use, and we only have to spend 1 influence to move to the next star. We're going to use this location action to promote one of our artists.
Ah yes, Francesco Bonaparto. Sounds like a really hip coffee from Starbucks.
Yeah, if his name wasn't enough to draw people in, maybe a little active promotion will help as well. Because his promotion level is currently at 1, we have to take one of these promotion 2 tokens, which will cost us 2 influence, which I'll spend here. Then the token is placed on top of his tile. His fame will now increase by the amount shown here,
which will be 1 plus 1 for each collector in our gallery, for a total of 2, bringing him up to 3 green stars.
Now we'll need to adjust the signature token of this artist, but before we do that, we're also going to gain this benefit here, which will allow us to again increase our influence by 2 for each VIP in our gallery plus 1 for each collector. In this case, giving us an influence of 5, moving our influence up to 8. So as we mentioned, this signature token is going to increase to the 3 green stars, and our assistant that was kicked out has been returned to their desk. We're going to move over to the artist colony for our action because we want to buy another painting, and we're going to put an assistant in the space that we left behind.
Ah yes, another photograph by the fantabulous Phoebe.
And a cheap one too, which I really like. This one's only going to cost 2 of our money.
I like how now that we have so much money, you're still so concerned about spending it.
I am. Easy come, easy go. There's 2 money, we'll return that to the bank. The pink visitor here will go into the plaza, and we'll gain a brown ticket.
Now Phoebe's fame will rise by 0 plus 1 for every collector in our gallery. So, just 1.
Apparently having your paintings displayed in the Paprod Gallery doesn't have that positive an effect on your fame.
Well, either way, her painting is ours now.
Yes, and we'll take the signature token too. The revealed artwork shows 2 tickets, so I'll randomly draw 2 visitors from the bag and place them here. Phoebe's fame is still at 1 green star, so we'll put our second token right there.
And it looks like the movers have arrived with our new art.
I actually like this one. It's not a ridiculous looking bunny rat. Colors are appealing. I think this is a turning point in our gallery, Pep.
I think it's a close-up photo of blood.
You know what? It does kind of look like that. Oh, well, it's not all bad. We also gained this token that was in the 3rd position. And Paulo wants us to place it over this space which will allow us to move a visitor of any color directly from the plaza into our gallery. And more collectors is always a good thing, so we'll take this one and put it here.
Remember, the reason that we can have 2 collectors is because you're always allowed to have 1 plus 1 for every piece of art that you've sold.
And against the odds, we did manage to sell this piece of artwork earlier, so our limit has been increased. And we have to remember, when placing a token here, we have to move a visitor from our lobby to the plaza. One thing to keep in mind with this decision is who we want to leave in the lobby for the purposes of the international market and the requirements there, because spoiler alert, on the next turn, Lacerda is going to move in here, kick us out, and we're going to take an action there. With that in mind, keeping the collector in our lobby will potentially give us options for both of these 2 columns.
Yeah, let's kick that VIP out then.
Oh dear, he tripped leaving. We're gonna have a lawsuit on our hands. Okay, so he goes back to the plaza. Well, we have an executive action we can take. We have 1 brown ticket left, and we'll use that to drag an investor back into our lobby. Lacerda is coming back over here to the international table. He's kicking us out, and at this location, he places one of his assistants in the next space on this table following his pattern, which will place it here, and this token we remove from the game. We're going to reduce our influence down to this next star so we can take a location action here, allowing us to place an assistant on one of these spaces. Paulo does want us to go here and claim 2 tickets, but again, we're pushing back against our consultant here. We know that one of the objectives is to collect tokens from this table.
And we need 5 of them.
Which means we need 3 more before the end of the game. So we're leaning more towards taking one of those. Hopefully Paulo doesn't send his goons out after us for all this insubordination, Pep.
Hopefully not. And we do want one of these 2 here, I think. But I think we should go with this one because that's the next one he's going to be taking from us.
I agree, Pep. So we'll place one of our assistants here and take the token. Paulo, I know in the international market you wanted us to go on the space that would provide us with 2 tickets. We're still going to get those 2 tickets for you, just in a roundabout way, because we're going to be placing our token here on this space. Also, this token, the reputation here, will give us at the end of the game 1 influence and 3 money for each artwork that we sell.
You mean $3 million.
Right, $3 million.
And we've chosen to collect a brown and a pink ticket.
And because we placed a token here, a visitor will leave a lobby and go back to the plaza. So this investor here will move back to the plaza. Also important, because we placed an assistant in this column, we're going to gain 1 influence, which is great. It puts us above a star level if we want to use another location action, if we get kicked out again in the future, and our assistant comes back and goes to an empty desk. Well, that concludes the 2 actions that Paulo suggested, and now it's up to Pep and I to take the reins for the rest of the episode.
But hey, listen, Paulo, you're not fooling me with this 2 action thing. I see that you also fully scripted out the little kicked out actions we had to do,
It's
too.
like you got 2 bonuses.
Yeah, he basically did 4 again.
Oh, Paulo. Well, listen, Pep, I'm looking here at the objectives for this solitaire game.
Yep.
I'm getting a little concerned.
Why? What's wrong?
Because Pep, I know Pep was really hoping we could pull off the Master Gallerist.
You got this.
I'm looking at the Apprentice level goals, and I'm not even sure we're going to pull that off. We have to come up with 160 money. We have what?
160 money?
We have like maybe 20.
I thought it was 120 money.
No. The experience level, we have to get 2 masterpieces, acquire 5 reputation tokens.
We're fine.
This could be embarrassing.
I think we're doomed.
Okay, well, let's go back and see if we can figure something out. It's driving me a little crazy that we've managed to fill up our gallery and no one is buying. I hate to say this, Pep, but I almost think we might need Jendrik back to do a little convincing of the crowd here. So
yes.
Let's go here. We've kicked out Lacerda's assistant. We'll deal with that in a moment. And we're taking a contract from our favorite position, this one here.
Yeah, I think every contract except for 1 all came from that spot.
Right from here. And we're going to place it into this space, which means Jendrik has been returned. This contract will be removed. And because this space wasn't empty, we won't be gaining this ticket.
Thank goodness.
Right, because this solo game ends when all of the tickets are gone. We have to be careful about how quickly those tickets are used up. The empty space we have to replace with a new one off the top of the deck.
Oh, Rodney, we forgot something.
What?
To leave an assistant behind when we left.
Oh, right. You know what? This is soon enough to have caught that. I'm sure everyone will be fine. We should have left an assistant behind in this spot.
All right, now that we got that out of the way, it's time we take an executive action.
Right, we have one available here on this contract that we just collected that will let us bring in another visitor to our gallery.
And there's no one better at bringing in investors than Mr. Jendrick.
Coercing investors. So we'll send this one into our gallery.
I like how this guy's sitting in the corner trying to avoid the attention of all the others.
He's being very inconspicuous. Now he's been dragged into this dark, seedy gallery. Now that our turn's over, though, Lacerda has a kicked-out assistant, so we're going to return that to his supply and remove a ticket from the tallest stack, which happens to be a white ticket. Lacerda is on the move again. He's kicking us out, and an assistant is placed in the location that he left. Well, we're not going to be kicked and not do something about it, so we're going to spend an influence and be able to take a full location action here. And what better to do than to sell the artwork we just got a contract for?
It's almost like that was our plan all along.
Well, if we're going to get one of our assistants back, I know Pep wants it to be Jendrick, so why don't we sell using this contract that we just collected? We have a couple of options here, Pep. Which painting do you want to get rid of?
I think the pixely one.
All right, so we found a buyer for this piece of artwork by Phoebe. We're going to gain the 5 coins shown here beside her signature token, so I'll add this to our supply.
And then I'll return the signature token back to the board.
The artwork that we sold, I'll put with this other one.
And we have to fill in the space here, so we'll shift this artwork over.
Now, one of our visitors has to leave with the painting, and I do think this guy, he was pretty nervous. I think he grabbed the painting and ducked out of here real quick. So now, this contract we're going to flip over, and we have to put it with this side face up because it was a brown investor visitor that left.
And Jendrick returns to his seat. Missing an eye, apparently.
Oh no, Jendrick! He really is missing an eye. Boy, the art world, it's a rough place.
Yeah, it must have been a tough investor.
Yeah, they're fighting back, I think, finally. Putting up some resistance. Well, now we get pushed back to our gallery, and from here we can go anywhere, Pep. I am worried that we're running out of assistants.
Let's go get some more.
Okay, so we'll go down here to this space. Now we want to hire 3 assistants, and the total cost of that is actually 12.
But it's time for me to use that influence of mine again and get us a little bit of a discount.
So we're going to spend some of our influence right now. How much, Pep, do you want to spend?
4 of it.
Because we moved past 2 of the money icons, that's going to give us a discount of 2.
So we'll only have to pay 10.
All right, so I'll remove that from our supply. And we've got our 3 new assistants that will fill in all of the empty desks that we had available here with Jendrick. I'm sure he'll be a positive influence on them.
And for hiring this assistant, we will get a ticket of any color.
And we talked about it. We're thinking maybe we'll take a white ticket. So that gives us 1 of every color. Now we have an executive action we can take, and we're going to place one of our new hires onto that space of the contract, which, based on the investors and collectors that we have in our gallery, will give us 8 money, which is most of what we just spent on hiring those new assistants. Well, look who's kicking us out again. Lacerda is giving us the boot, but we don't mind, because we actually want to take an action at this location, and we only have to spend 1 influence to do it. We want to discover an artist from this row.
Yes, they design digital art.
Right, and we need some of that for the goals on our art dealer and curator cards.
Now we just have to figure out which one do we want.
I think it would be good if we could provide some influence to the viewers, because we're about to turn things over to them. So if we discover this artist, we will get a big influence boost.
Let's do it.
So this token again is going to give us 2 influence per VIP and 1 per collector for a total of 6, which I'll adjust and we'll be able to see a little bit later. We're now going to flip this artist over, and we're going to set their fame here at 1.
Oh, my boy Troy. I haven't seen him since the good old days.
Okay, I guess this is Troy, and we'll take one of his signature tokens and put it on our commission space. Our assistant that was kicked out can now be returned to its desk. Well, I think we'll stop here, turn things over to you guys, because Peprad Gallery is in a pretty good state right now. We've got some influence that can be spent if we get kicked out. We've got a horde of visitors clamoring to see more artwork.
Yeah, we got some artists that are aspiring for greatness. We have a couple of paintings, a little bit room for more.
Yeah, we got a whole gang there of assistants.
Literal gang of assassins.
Yeah, street gang of assistants to do our bidding. But now we need your help. What do you think we should do next? Put your suggestion in the comments below if you like what someone suggests. Give them a thumbs up. If you don't like it, propose your own suggestion, and maybe that will get the most votes. But whichever one does, that's what we'll come back and do in the next episode. But until then, thanks for watching.